Here's a laptop that's currently in my hands, and honestly, the first thing that surprised me is how light it feels. This is a 16-inch laptop, yet I'm not getting that usual feeling of carrying around a bulky machine. And yep, this is the LG Gram Pro 16. LG has managed to pack a large 16-inch display, a 77 watt-hour battery, modern Intel Core Ultra hardware, and a solid selection of ports into a chassis that weighs only around 1,194 grams. But is being this light actually a good thing, or does it come with compromises? Let's find out what the Gram Pro 16 is really like to use. Let's start with the thing that immediately separates the Gram Pro 16 from most 16-inch laptops: the weight. LG lists it at around 1,194 grams, while the chassis is only about 12.4 millimeters thick. That's extremely light for a laptop with a 16-inch display. You actually notice it when you pick the laptop up. Most 16-inch laptops are designed around performance first. They have larger cooling systems, bigger batteries, and sometimes dedicated graphics, so it's not unusual for them to weigh well over 2 kilograms. The Gram Pro 16 is playing a completely different game. The lightweight construction makes it much easier to carry, but there is a trade-off here. This is a very thin laptop, so it doesn't have the same dense, solid feel you get from some heavier, premium notebooks. That's not necessarily a quality issue. It's simply the consequence of trying to keep the machine this light. LG uses a lightweight metal construction, and the Gram Pro has also gone through military-grade durability testing. That should provide some reassurance about everyday durability, but I wouldn't confuse that with a rugged laptop. The main point is that LG has managed to build a genuinely large laptop that doesn't feel large when you're carrying it. And that's probably the Gram Pro 16's strongest feature. Moving on to the display, you get a 16-inch IPS panel with a 2560 by 1600 resolution and a 16:10 aspect ratio. That resolution works particularly well at this screen size. You're getting noticeably more workspace than a standard 1080p panel, and the 16:10 format gives you additional vertical space. In practice, that means more lines of a document, more rows in a spreadsheet, or more of a web page visible before you have to scroll. The 144 Hz maximum is a nice upgrade from the 60 Hz panel still found on plenty of productivity laptops. Scrolling feels smoother, animations are more responsive, and the entire interface has a more fluid feel. But I wouldn't buy this laptop specifically because it's a 144 Hz machine. It's still primarily a productivity-focused display, and the integrated graphics aren't intended to push demanding games at high frame rates. The higher refresh rate is more useful for everyday responsiveness than for serious gaming. Color reproduction is another strong point. LG rates the panel at up to 99% DCI-P3 coverage. That gives you a wide color gamut, which is useful for photo work, video editing, design, and simply having a more capable display for everyday use. At the same time, it's worth remembering that this is an IPS display rather than OLED. So if you're coming from a good OLED laptop, you're going to notice the difference in black levels and contrast. But IPS does have some benefits for a laptop designed around productivity and portability, particularly when you consider that the Gram Pro 16 isn't trying to compete purely on display technology. Overall, I think the display is one of the more balanced parts of this laptop. You get high resolution, a useful aspect ratio, wide color coverage, and a high refresh rate without turning the machine into a display-first product. Now let's talk about performance, because this is where the Gram Pro 16 becomes more complicated. Depending on the configuration, the laptop is available with Intel's Core Ultra Series 2 processors, including higher-end options such as the Core Ultra 9. The Core Ultra platform is built around a combination of CPU cores, integrated ARC graphics, and an NPU designed specifically for AI workloads. In the Core Ultra 9 288V configuration, for example, the NPU is rated up to 50 TOPS. The important thing to understand is that TOPS isn't a direct measurement of overall laptop performance. The NPU is there to accelerate specific AI workloads. So you shouldn't look at the NPU number and assume that the laptop is automatically faster at everything. For normal CPU workloads, you're still relying primarily on the CPU cores. And for everyday tasks, this hardware is more than capable. Web browsing, office applications, large spreadsheets, programming environments, photo editing, multitasking, and general productivity are all well within its comfort zone. The bigger question is sustained performance. The Gram Pro 16 is extremely thin and light, which means there simply isn't as much room for cooling hardware as you'd find in a thicker performance laptop. That's important because a processor can perform very well for short bursts, but demanding workloads that run continuously can eventually be limited by heat and power. So if you're rendering a large project, compiling a particularly heavy application, or running CPU-intensive workloads for extended periods, you shouldn't expect the same sustained performance you'd get from a much thicker workstation-style laptop. That's the trade-off. The Gram Pro 16 isn't slow. Far from it. It's simply optimized around efficiency and portability, rather than maximum sustained performance. The graphics situation is even more straightforward. The Gram Pro 16 uses Intel Arc integrated graphics rather than a dedicated NVIDIA GPU. For everyday use, that's completely fine. You can run multiple displays, accelerate supported creative applications, handle high-resolution video playback, and even do some light gaming. But this isn't a gaming laptop. If you're expecting to run modern AAA games at high settings, or perform heavy GPU rendering, this isn't the machine I'd recommend. A laptop with an RTX 4050, 4060, or higher is going to have significantly more graphics headroom, and that highlights one of the biggest decisions you'll have to make with the Gram Pro 16. You're getting an exceptionally lightweight 16-inch laptop, but you're giving up the graphics performance that usually comes with heavier 16-inch machines. For some people, that's an excellent trade. For others, it won't make sense. If GPU performance is one of your top priorities, you should probably look elsewhere. LG claims up to 25.5 hours of video playback. Now, I would definitely put an asterisk next to that number. That figure comes from specific testing conditions, including 150 nit brightness, wireless connectivity turned off, and headphone playback at the default volume. Real-world battery life will obviously be lower if you're browsing over Wi-Fi, running demanding applications, increasing brightness, or using the CPU and GPU heavily. But that's not really a criticism of LG. Battery manufacturers and laptop companies commonly advertise maximum runtimes under controlled conditions. What's more important is that the Gram Pro 16 has a 77 watt-hour battery inside a 1,194 grams chassis. That's a very good combination. For lighter workloads, you should have plenty of battery capacity for extended periods away from a charger. And when you're doing more demanding work, the battery will obviously drain faster. Connectivity is another area where LG has done a good job. You get Thunderbolt 4, USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, and other standard connectivity options, so you don't have to rely entirely on dongles. That's especially useful on a laptop this thin, because manufacturers sometimes remove ports in the name of saving space. Here, LG has managed to keep a fairly practical selection. The laptop also supports Wi-Fi 7 on compatible configurations, which gives it a more modern wireless platform for faster networking and lower latency when paired with compatible equipment. After using the LG Gram Pro 16 and looking at the whole package, I think it's best suited for people who value portability without wanting to give up a large screen. It's a great fit for students carrying their laptop around campus, frequent travelers who want something easy to pack, and creators who need a capable machine for editing, design, and everyday creative work. There are plenty of powerful 16-inch laptops. There are plenty of thin laptops. There aren't nearly as many that give you this much screen while staying this light. And that's ultimately what you're buying here. Not the fastest 16-inch laptop, but one of the easiest to carry without giving up the workspace that makes a larger laptop useful in the first place. Now we would like to hear from you. Would you use this lightweight laptop? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.